How'd you like that one? You're going to be looking at that trophy if you're in the Zabalos family, going, look at that beauty from Viña del Mar.
Beautifully constructed by the American, Odesnik. This is all it takes to win a point against Ferrer. Just push him out of the court, watch him get your best drop shot possible, and then be ready for the next ball.
And he did well to hang in there just for a moment, because if he'd gone to the backhand side, it would have been a little trouble. But he moved so well to his forehand that he could wait till Ferrer committed, and then just the sprint to get over in time. Solid effort.
What I really like from Ferrer this evening is he's mixing up the serve well. He's serving out wide in the deuce court, then he'll go up the tee, and then he's mixing it up, doing the same thing in the ad court, going backhand and then kicking out wide. So he's been like a good pitcher out there. He's just mixing it up. Odesnik doesn't know what's coming at him. And Ferrer's second serve has been very good as well. Well, Odesnik trying something a little bit different, going to the Eddie Dibbs, Harold Solomon tactics of lobbing the ball from way behind the baseline. Or I should say floating it, not lobbing it.
And Ferrer tried to take advantage of his positioning, but the drop shot couldn't find its way into the court. And a little half chance for Odesnik. He hasn't had too many looks against Ferrer's serve. He did have 3 break chances in game number 3 of the opening set. Ferrer was able to get out of that jam, no problem, and hasn't faced a break point since until well, right now.
And I like the moonball tactics. That takes away the rhythm of Ferrer. Let's see if he does it again. Second serve. Watch Odesnik. He's going to run around the backhand here and try to hit a forehand if he can. That play hasn't worked though for him, Kevin, because the court's slow. And you see what happens. Even if it's a good return, he can't put it away. He exposes the entire court. Now he's on the run. He's dead because there's transition from Ferrer. Cannot squander another break point, otherwise this match will be over. No, bad footwork. And that was playing the point. Instead of playing the ball, he's playing the situation.
And immensely frustrating. 0 for 5 on the day, that's one thing, but twice in this third game, so important to end this slide of 6 straight games. Just giving Ferrer the momentum back.
And that's the word, giving it to him. Just gave it to him. I think Odesnik should resort to the moonball tactics again. It worked. 1 point is all he tried it. Now he's trying to get really close and hug the baseline, and look what happens to him there. Gets out-clocked.
Igualas, Dios.
Oh, skidded a bit off the line and unable to handle it as Ferrer facing a third break point. Really, Odesnik, it comes down to put up or shut up. And you have to produce here. You have to give yourself a chance. It requires the effort here to get to 2-1.
Javier Pilas, the man in the right with the gray shirt and the black cap. He's the man who's been with Ferrer all this time.
And there's the break, and Odesnik lets everybody in the stadium know how desperate he was to get back on serve in set number 2. Well, he's gotten there. As we continue on, the top seed out in front, up a set.
Well, even the great ones take their foot off the accelerator sometimes.
Well, a necessary response by Odesnik, and good to see too. Getting the medical time out between sets, that certainly seemed to indicate maybe we might be in for a short night in this match, but the fact that he's come out fighting and put up a pretty good effort hasn't gone away.
Seems to be moving fine. I also enjoy the tactics he employed, the moonball strategy that we used to be familiar with from the likes of Harold Solomon and Eddie Dibbs back in the 70s, really, when there were a few guys that played that way. Now nobody plays that way, really. But you don't want to give Ferrer rhythm. You don't want to give him anything to play with. So I think that would be nice if he could employ a little bit more of that.
Back in set number 2, we have returned on serve by virtue of a break from Wayne Odesnik, who was a point away from losing his 7th straight game. He picks up his first and now serving from the near end. We talked about the suspension of a year that was reduced from a 2-year sentence for Wayne Odesnik because of the human growth hormone troubles that he suffered in Australia, and that certainly affected his ranking. Odesnik was able in April of 2009 to get up to number 77 in the world and seemed to be capitalizing on a lot of hard work off the court. After 2008, started to see somebody about finding a way to be more mentally prepared and bolster that aspect of the game to help the physical part.
Finals of a tournament in Houston, right on clay.
Exactly. But then a year later, the wheels came off. After being inside the top 100, the suspension began. He started to slip, fell out of the top 100, and then being away from the tour. When he finally returned in the summer, or early stages, excuse me, of 2011, he was down to 1,380 in the world.
Starting all over.
Yeah, it's basically not ranked. And has been slowly working in the challenger arena. Just try to continue to build that up. Now number 155 on the Emirates ATP rankings.
Brilliant shot. Jammed Ferrer with the second serve and came in, and instead of getting too overly optimistic, played a nice little drop shot. Didn't have to do too much. Still always struggling on serve though, Kevin, is Odesnik. Every service game is a challenge.
Every service game he's faced break point at least once, usually multiple times. Is looking to avoid being broken for a 4th straight time.
That was an unfortunate point for Odesnik because he played it so well but the drop shot crunched him because it was too obvious. He was in a long point, had Ferrer on the run. He would have been far better served to rip that backhand, and look at how deep the drop shot lands. You knew when you saw that drop shot, Ferrer was going to get there easily.
Without question. Sliding into it and producing a nice backhand of his own gets him to break point.
No monkey business, you know, just stick to good, solid tennis. But that's what Ferrer forces you to do, because he gets to so many balls, you finally start to say, well, what do I have to do to win the point?
Oh, when you get long, protracted rallies, too, with him, you start to panic a bit. Like, how much longer can I go on? Maybe I ought to try something like a drop shot that wasn't effective.
Like a bad drop shot.
Yeah. Very ineffective. But that lets you know, because the caliber of player he's facing now in the form of David Ferrer is far different through the challengers and the qualifications, even the win over Kubat.
Yeah.
You start thinking to yourself, oh boy.
And then the depth on that ball. The disappointing thing is, when you're Odesnik, you fight so hard to get the break of serve, but you can't let down, because every game on your own serve is almost as torturous as trying to get the break.
Gracias.
It's just remarkable. The placement, the backhand in the corner on the paint. Odesnik frustrated beyond belief, because there were starting to be little glimmers of hope. Things were starting to look up for a moment, but Ferrer slams the door as he breaks Odesnik for a 4th consecutive time for a 3-1 lead.
That's called depth. Depth. That last shot wasn't so hard. It was just perfectly placed with depth. Everybody at home, you don't have to hit through the ball every single time. You don't have to kill it. But if you hit it deep on big points, ooh.
15-0. 15 love.
Too many people get caught up, I think, Kevin, with wanting to blast the ball. You know, hit the big shots. But the big, heavy hit balls are easier to get back. Just put your racket there.
Primero servicio. Cruzado.
And when you hit it that deep, you get a short reply most of the time. In America, we call it depth. Actually, in Great Britain, they call it length. Length. Same thing.
He's had great length through this set now that he's turned things around, and he's really giving Odesnik fits. Because that little bit, just to push him farther back to be able to play the ball, is giving Ferrer a whole lot of open court.
And I'll tell you what, it kicks up like a mule on this clay court. When you hit the ball that deep, it bounces with the spin, pushes your way back. You can never feel like you're moving forward. You're always feeling like you're backing up. Hello. Hello. He's trying everything. Odesnik's throwing, excuse the pun, the kitchen sink at him. But the kitchen sink is breaking. It's got porcelain all over and it's splattering.
Shattering before it even gets to the net.